Hey guys,
welcome back to our channel. My name is Chanelle.
I'm Donovan.
And for today's Self-Love Sunday, we are doing seasons of waiting. How uncomfortable was that?
Probably painful.
Yeah, I guarantee you seasons of waiting are 10 times more awkward and terrible than that. So that was our horrible intro into this topic. Which actually, we're on the coast right now, which is where I grew up. It's fitting because we are in the house that I had one of my biggest seasons of waiting. In fact, this room right here, I spent literally 90% of my season of waiting in here, miserable, watching TV to numb it all out. Which I do not suggest doing, which is why we're here, so you can learn and do better. One of my biggest seasons of waiting was basically waiting for my husband. Right here. We were doing long distance, if you guys don't know, and he was in YWAM, and so we did long distance for about a year, and I was living at home.
Exactly.
And yeah, exactly a year actually. And I was living at home, and honestly, yeah, it was really, really, really difficult. There are different seasons of waiting, things that can be, I'm sorry, but oh my gosh. My father is down there. Terrifying. Michael, we're trying to film! Anywho,
just keep going.
That is just horrible.
Where you were?
I don't remember where I was. I'm way too distracted. He needs to stop that. There's definitely different types of seasons of waiting because there's things that, I mean, this is definitely, I feel like maybe a little bit lighter of a topic because there's people that go through things that are really traumatic and it's a really, really hard season of waiting. It doesn't mean that like whatever you're, I'm sorry, it's still right there. I can't. So, it's not to take anybody's season of waiting lighter, but there are people that are going through, I know they're going through some really, really hard times. But this is just kind of an example of what I had to go through, and it was really hard. Like in my vows, I talked about how it just felt like a piece of my heart was in another country. And it hurt, like literally in places that you don't even know hurt. But it was like a good hurt, I guess, because I knew I was just waiting for my husband.
So an example of a season of waiting for me was also my time of YWAM, like I did my DTS. And even after my DTS, I wasn't in a place where I was ready for a relationship. I hadn't had a girlfriend in like a committed relationship for like 5 years. And so I was still like working through some of that stuff. But once I did work through that and I was in a place where I could see myself in a relationship again, I was then entered into a season of waiting because before that it was a lot easier because I didn't really want a girlfriend. So then when I was ready for a relationship and ready for a girlfriend and a wife, I was like, okay, now I'm waiting for my wife. And one thing that may happen to you in a season of waiting is you may have several kind of options or several ways out of that season of waiting, and not all of them will always be the best option, right? Clearly I found my best option, no. But that was after I had another option. And so before I met Chanelle, there was another girl that I had met in YWAM, and
dun dun dun.
But it never went further than a crush. But I considered dating her, and I actually ended up
oh my gosh! Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, this needs to actually stop. That was terrifying. I'm so sorry for that scream. Oh my. Let's continue.
Where was I? So there was another girl that I liked.
Oh my gosh.
So there was another girl I liked during my time at YWAM. I even talked to her about it, about potentially dating. She had liked me, but thankfully she heard clearly from God that it wasn't the right thing, and so that never ended up progressing anywhere. But sometimes, like when you're in that season of waiting, you'll have those ways out or those options, and they may not always be the best option, right? So a key kind of pointer for a season of waiting is don't just like look for your first chance to escape the season of waiting, right? But you have to have the perseverance to, you know, believe that there is something at the end of this season for you, and that you're learning stuff through your season of waiting, right?
I think that's one thing, like I've gone through other seasons of waiting in my life, but I think that's one of the things that like I know you've learned and that I've learned is that like through a season of waiting, you learn so much and you become more of like who you are and a better character, and like it's beneficial in the end, as hard as it can be. It definitely, like, there's goodness that can come out of it at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Yeah. I think that people kind of get confused often is that they assume that the path to get from one place to the next is like, okay, I'm gonna start out here and I'm gonna end here and the path is gonna be here to here, right? But that is just not reality. It's not the reality for anything. That's not what the reality for success in business, the reality for success in relationships, the reality for anything in life, as you guys have probably experienced. The path to success, the distance is maybe here, but often you travel here and you go down and around and all over the place.
All over.
And then finally you'll end up there, right? So that is really what a season of waiting looks like.
Yeah, and I think also the importance of seasons of waiting as well is timing. Because even for Donovan and I, if we had met each other a year earlier, like, we both wouldn't have been in a place of being ready to be married. We wouldn't have, like, it wouldn't have worked out the way that it did. So I think if you're in a season of waiting, like, I know for myself, I know like everybody, you have this ideal path and you have this ideal circumstance and timing to get certain things done and when to be in a certain place. And then, like, when it doesn't happen, you put your, like, you become in a season of waiting. It can be really hard because you're like, but I had this plan and I have this and like all this, and like I was supposed to be there now, I was supposed to be doing this now. But really, like, you're being placed in a season of waiting for a reason, because you're growing and you're learning. And sometimes you're just not ready to be where you want to be yet. Yeah. Like I said, like Donovan and I, we would not have been ready to be in a place to get married. And a year later, we were exactly where we needed to be. And God was like, okay, now it's the perfect timing. There you go. You're ready.
To give you guys a non-relationship related example of season of waiting, because there are no areas of life, right? In business even, right? For me, in my real estate career, I feel like I'm sort of in a season of waiting right now, because I'm just getting started, right? So I'm doing everything I can do, and being in a season of waiting doesn't necessarily mean that you're being inactive or that you're doing nothing. It doesn't mean that you're just sitting still, but it's just that season of waiting for, you know, things to start clicking. Or even before I got my real estate license, I passed my exam and I needed to find a brokerage and do all this post-licensing stuff before I could actually be a licensed realtor. And so that was like 4 months or something. It was a long time of waiting. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? Like, I've passed my exam, but I can't get my license yet. I haven't found a brokerage yet. Like, I need to wait and figure this stuff out. And that can be painful because you just want to, you're rearing at the bit, right? You just want to go. So I guess our biggest encouragement for you guys is to try your best to be patient in a season of waiting. Talk to people about it. You know, pray through it if you guys believe in the Lord like we do. Also, to not take the first opportunity out. Don't take like a shortcut through your season of waiting, because you're gonna miss out on something great that's in that season for you. Yeah, and I think another really important one too is to just like kind of find time to stop, instead of focus on like what you're missing out on, focus on like what you can be learning. I think that was a huge thing when we were doing long distance. I was just so focused on like, oh, I want Donna to be home, that I didn't take that time that would have been really good to just like continue to work on myself and like just grow in that way. So whatever season you're in, just take the time to just be still and listen and just grow. And really learn from whatever you're going through, and, you know, just be positive. I know it's hard to say just be positive, because sometimes it sucks, and I get that, but we just wanted to come on here and hopefully encourage you guys. If you're in a season of waiting, make it an active season of waiting. And work on yourself and improving your skills, or, you know, doing whatever you can do in your season of waiting before you take the next big step in your life. So you guys are gonna crush it. Wait patiently, but be active at the same time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you Thursday. And then the next Self-Love Sunday will be in Costa Rica. So anyways, we love you guys so much, and we will see you very, very soon. Okay, bye.